To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
G'day guys, Disney Dave coming at you once again from down under. I am getting really excited. It seems every time I do one of these videos I'm getting really excited, but I mean I'm getting super excited because tomorrow night, pretty much 24 hours from now, I will be sat down in the IMAX Theatre Melbourne, getting myself comfy with a tub of popcorn in one hand and a Coca-Cola in the other hand, getting ready to watch the Melbourne premiere screening of Captain America Civil War. I've been waiting for this for so long! I am so excited for this! I am so excited for this! I don't know why I did that, but I'm really excited, as you can tell. This is, of course, the newest film that's coming from Marvel Studios and Walt Disney Pictures. It's out in Australia on the 28th of April, which is 2 days from now. I'm seeing it a day early. It's out in cinemas in the UK on the 29th of April and in the US on the 6th of May. You guys have to wait like a week to see it after us, unless you're one of those many people who've seen the preview screenings in America already. They've been holding fan events just about everywhere, so if you really wanted to see it by now, you probably have. But I'm getting really excited to see this because I've been a huge Marvel fan ever since Iron Man back in 2008. I've been following these movies, and the last couple of years, when it's become so clear to me just how well crafted these movies are and how everything is just so interconnected. Before Age of Ultron came out, I sat down, I did the marathon of all the films, all the TV shows in chronological order, and my God, since then I have been obsessed with Marvel. It's like my life, and because Marvel is part of Disney, it just makes everything just so much more amazing. Life is just, and Star Wars is part of Disney too. Everything's coming up, Dave. Really. What am I gonna say? So basically, yeah, I've been a real big Marvel fan. And over the last couple of years, I suppose the last year or so, I've been picking up the comic books. I've been reading them from the very beginning, from the very first issues of Ant-Man and Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, the Avengers, sort of back about 1963, where they all sort of started appearing in the Marvel comics. And I'm sort of up to the early 70s at the moment. I'm really enjoying reading sort of the origins of these characters, and my task, my challenge is to sort of read through absolutely everything, and it's probably going to take me a few years, but I don't care because I'm absolutely loving it. I'm getting the movies, I'm getting the comics, and I'm just, I'm falling in love. So what I have done, actually, I have picked up a couple of new comics. As I said, I've been reading from the 60s onwards, sort of in a chronological timeline, everything in order. But every once in a while, something comes along that I just want to pick up and just jump ahead of myself and read really far ahead of myself. And Marvel Comics have been really awesome at printing comics to coincide with the release of a film. It's very smart business. And whether you want to call these tie-ins, or you want to call them a cash-in, or just basically Marvel, I suppose, taking advantage of the fact that there's a film out and that there's going to be a market for these comics, whatever you want to call it, I'm just happy they're there. I don't care. For those of you who have these comics, I'm going to show you some comics that have been published before. I'm going to show you some comics that haven't been published before. So there's a little bit of everything here for everyone. These are all in trade paperback format. They've just come out within the last month or so. I've just got my greasy little mitts on them. I've ordered these from the book depository. They were all around $20, $30, and I'll tell you all about that in a minute when I show you what they are. And it won't be a minute because I'll be showing you right now. So today we're taking a look at 3 new trade paperbacks from Marvel, sort of. This one, we're taking a look at Marvel Comics event Civil War, which of course the new film Captain America Civil War is based on. This is the 7-issue arc, basically mini-series event of Civil War. And if you know anything about Civil War, this was a huge event that affected every single comic line that Marvel had going at the time. So there were the comics say, for example, Captain America and Iron Man. There were comics leading into Civil War, leading through Civil War, and leading out of Civil War. And sadly, those issues aren't in here. But Marvel has been very, very smart, and they published Captain America, Iron Man, Civil War. So this here is a book which basically collects all the Captain America and the Iron Man issues that are relevant to the Civil War story arc. And they've published these for just about every single, or for every single comic line that was affected by Civil War, or every single line that Marvel had going at that time that ran through the Civil War event. So we're going to have a look at that, and we're also going to have a look at this. This is brand new, never been published before. These two have been published before, but we'll go over that in detail in a minute when we go over to the table. We are taking a look at Captain America Civil War Prelude. I'm really excited. Marvel have been really awesome at doing these Prelude books, and this is just the next in an awesome line of Prelude books. And again, we'll have a look at these very, very closely. We'll take a very brief look at past Prelude books as well, just to sort of weigh it up. So, Captain America Civil War Prelude, and the Civil War Trade Paperback, and the Captain America Iron Man Civil War Trade Paperbacks. All of these recently printed. We'll go over that in great detail. We're going to head over to the bench and take a look at these. So come with me. Alright, so let's take a look. Let's lie these out. We are looking at, once again, Captain America Civil War Prelude, the Civil War Marvel Comics event, and Captain America and Iron Man Civil War. So, we will first take a look at, let's start where we should start, with Civil War. Let's get a little close up of this here. So this is the new printing of the Civil War Marvel Comics event. As I said, it includes all 7 issues of the main Civil War event arc. So it doesn't include any of the sort of Iron Man, Captain America, Spider-Man issues. It's basically just got the 7 Civil War issues. This book has been published before, of course. They did an entire run of trade paperbacks of the Civil War event for both the event and all of the comics that the event affected. This is a new printing of this. This is the 2016 printing of this. I don't have the original printing to compare, but I'm guessing the spine is probably a bit different, because Marvel spines, until I don't know how long ago, but until not too long ago, the Marvel spine was white with red writing there. Now they've gone to the red with the white writing there on the spine. So that's sort of one telltale sign that this is a new printing of this book. If I'm incorrect about that, please feel free to tell me in the comments and correct me. As I said, I haven't been into these comics for too long. But this is the back cover. I'm guessing the artwork is pretty much the same on the previous Civil War trade paperback. It says on the back, Marvel Universe is changing in the wake of a tragedy. Capitol Hill proposes the Superhero Registration Act, requiring all costumed heroes to unmask themselves before the government. Divided the nation's greatest champions must each decide how to react, a decision that will alter the course of their lives forever. It is collecting Civil War number 1 to 7, written by Mark Millar and illustrated by Steve McNiven. So basically there you go, there's your Marvel Comics event. This includes just about every single character that was that had a comic book in the Marvel Comics world at this point when this series was first released. The film, of course, only has the rights to like, what, maybe 10-ish characters. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do a film based on this comic book when there's so many heroes in this and so little heroes in the film. But I think it's going to work out absolutely for the best, because with their Infinity Wars film, that's the one where they're going to go absolutely all out with the characters. I'm not going to flick through this too much because I don't want to spoil much. We're going to zoom out just a little bit because I'm struggling to get this in frame properly. I'm not going to bend this back too far because I'm really anal with my books. Again, OCD. In here we've got just a little ad, as they always do, showing collected editions. So they've reprinted quite are a handful of these Civil War trade paperbacks. Not every single one has been reprinted. You can still get your hands on some of them. Most of them are out of print. This one was out of print. That's why they've obviously reprinted it. But yeah, there's a handful of them that you can have got new 2016 prints, and it shows you there on the front and the back. The paper stock is thin and glossy, so this is like a modern comic paper. Whereas for some of the trade paperbacks of the older comics, like 60s, 70s, 80s, they use the sort of matte, thicker sort of paper stock. Whereas this is more, it keeps it more true to the source of what the actual comics were printed on in their first run. So I like that. So of course, Civil War, issue number 1. And then it goes straight into the issue. It's printed really nice. The colours are beautiful. The printing is beautiful. The text is beautiful. I know there's a lot of issues sometimes in reprints of comics where things go wrong with the texts and whether there's random stuff in bold, or there's letters missing, or there's speech bubbles missing. But this all seems, for someone who's not actually read this before, this seems all pretty much intact. Again, I'm not going to flick through all of it because, yeah, look, I don't want to spoil it for anyone out there who hasn't read it. I haven't read this myself. I'm considering whether I read it after I see the film, or maybe I just keep reading my comics. As I said, I'm around the 70s, so it'll take me quite a while to get up to Civil War. But I'd really like to read this, so I might have to just skip ahead. Of course, everything's in here. Issues 1 to 7, absolutely beautiful artwork. Captain America versus Iron Man, and that's what we're going to see in this film. I know how this ends, and I'm not going to show you too much of the end of the book, because if you haven't read this, I'm not spoiling it for you. So this one here, this is an interesting one, because this is both a reprint but then also a new release, because as I said, they print in trade paperback format pretty much every comic line that ran through Civil War. Previously, these two, Captain America and Iron Man, had individual books. So you had to go out and buy the Captain America Civil War book or the Iron Man Civil War book. Now, obviously, because the film is Captain America vs. Iron Man, hashtag Team Cap, hashtag Team Iron Man, they have capitalized on that and published both lines in the one book, which is awesome. Very, very convenient. Yeah, buy 2 books if you want this and this, instead of buying 3 books. There's really only one other book that I would be interested in the Civil War arc, and that's Spider-Man, because apparently he's got a very important role throughout the event. So there's your cover, Captain America and Iron Man, again capitalizing on the film. There's your spine. Lines up very well with this one, except the red on this is this is more like a really, I don't even know what I could say. It's more of an orange, and this is more of like a blood red. There's some weird white line underneath the Marvel logo. Don't know what that is, but anyway, they sort of line up there. Be interesting to see how the Spider-Man one lines up as well. So again, we open up and we've got the advertisements for the printed trade paperbacks that are out at the moment, the 2016 editions. We'll look on the back, before we go any further. Whose side are you on? Which is, of course, the tagline for the Civil War event and for the film. Now, this is, I'm not going to read that because there's too much, but this collects Captain America 2005, so the Captain America volume that was printed from 2005 onward, collects issues number 22 and 24, and it also collects the one-shot comic Winter Soldier, Winter Kills, which is obviously related to the Captain America line and is included here, basically so that you basically get everything related to the Captain America line. We then also have Iron Man 2005, issues 13 and 14. And then we have a couple of one-shot comics here that relate to both Iron Man and Captain America. Again, this is an absolute complete collection of everything. We've got the Iron Man, Captain America, Casualties of War, and also the Civil War, The Confession one-shot as well. So all in all, there is 4, 5, 6, 7 issues in there as well. Sorry, 8 issues, because there's 3 Captain America and 2 Iron Man. So 8 issues compared to 7 issues in this. It's slightly thicker, and the price tag is just a little bit higher on that, but you don't mind too much. Again, with this issue, I'm not going to spoil a whole lot. The paper stock's the same, the printing stock's the same. It's printed beautifully, the colours are beautiful, the artwork is of course gorgeous in this. It's a real just a real good example of beautiful comic work from this point in Marvel history. Again, as I said, these have been printed in trade paperback form before, but you had to buy the individual Captain America and Iron Man volumes. This one collects both volumes in one handy trade paperback. So if we go towards the back, there's the Iron Man stuff. The Captain America stuff is towards the beginning of the book. Alright, so that's about all for that one. And last but not least, we are going to have a look at Captain America Civil War Prelude. This is awesome. They do a prelude book for every one of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films. As it says down here, Marvel Cinematic Universe official tie-in. This is actually what started me on buying the comic books, the prelude books. I've got quite a few of them here. This is pretty much all of them except for Iron Man 3. I think I haven't picked that one up yet. They look really nice lined up. And we add the new one to the mix. They've all got these really cool little pictures down the sides there. Down the bottom. Of course the new one is Captain America himself. Fix that up. Now the tradition with these prelude books is basically to give you a good backstory on the film. It's as a prelude is pre the film, and it gives you a wealth of information that you need to know going into the movie. So these will usually, if the book is a sequel, or sorry, if the film is a sequel to a previous Marvel film, the book will include a comic adaptation of the previous film. You also usually get a one-shot comic, which is a digital comic printed in printed format. It's released as a digital comic first, but it's a tie-in to the film, so it leads directly into the movie and usually works to bridge gaps between the previous film and the new one. They're not essential reading, but usually they do fill in sort of gaps. Like, for example, the Ant-Man Prelude book had a little comic that showed you how he wound up in prison. It showed you the act of crime he committed to get in prison. It's mentioned in the film how he he stole money back from a bunch of people who'd been stealing money from people, and he pushed a car into a pool. You see all that in the comic book. In the Age of Ultron Prelude comic, you get a little bit of a backstory on Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch within the film universe. This one here I haven't skimmed through yet. We'll have a very quick look, but it aims to bridge the gaps between Winter Soldier and Age of Ultron and Captain America Civil War. So we'll look on the back. It is basically, well, it is described as the road to Marvel's Captain America Civil War, with the official adaptations of smash hit films Iron Man 3 and Captain America the Winter Soldier. Don't know if you would call Iron Man 3 a smash hit, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. So basically, because it's a Captain America and an Iron Man film, you are getting the comic book adaptations of both Iron Man 3 and Captain America the Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier book collected the comic adaptation of the first Captain America book. Iron Man 3 collected the adaptation of Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 collected the adaptation of Iron Man 1. And I believe Captain America 1 there was a book called Road to Marvel's Avengers, which had adaptations of various comics as well, I believe. They also tend to include an original comic, like an older comic, which is the source material for the film. This one, in this case, includes the first issue of Civil War, which we looked at over here, first issue of this. Other issues, the Ant-Man one included the first appearance of Scott Lang in a comic book. The Age of Ultron one included the first appearance of the Vision in an Avengers comic book. The Guardians of the Galaxy one collected a couple of old Guardians of the Galaxy comics, etc, etc, etc. So basically you get this really awesome compendium of it's basically everything you need to know going into the movie. So let's open it up. Again, we get the advertisements for... Let's zoom out a little bit actually, give ourselves some more space here. You get the advertisements for the new books which have just been published. And again, we're on this same paper stock as the last two trade paperbacks. This is the comic adaptation of Iron Man 3. And if we skip forward, there's Iron Man 3 still. Don't care about you. And then we've got the adaptation of Captain America the Winter Soldier. It's very odd looking at how the different artists have drawn the films. This one, the characters look very much like Robert Downey Jr. And Gwyneth Paltrow. But this one here, they don't exactly look like Chris Evans, Samuel L. Jackson, Scarlett Johansson. It's odd that they've gone for a very different style there. And it continues with Captain America Winter Soldier. This is the Infinite comic here. I'm not going to show you too much of this, I don't want to spoil it, but basically this leads into Civil War. There's the new Avengers complex with the Falcon up the top there. And just Avengers punching on. I don't want to look at it. Divert your eyes. And then we get to the back of the book and we come up to, well, it says there at the end, to be continued in Captain America Civil War. So whatever happens in that leads into the movie. And then at the back we get the very first issue of the Civil War comic arc. And more advertisements on the back. There's the Spider-Man one. I wouldn't mind picking that up at some point. Anyway, so that's all three books. I'm going to grab all three of them and we're going to head back over the couch for a very quick wrap up. Alright, so that's basically it from me today. Again, Captain America and Iron Man, Civil War, Captain America Civil War, Prelude. These are available just about everywhere you can get books at the moment. I personally ordered mine from Book Depository. It really is the cheapest place if you're in Australia to get books. Amazon is very expensive when it comes to importing books because their shipping fees are really, really high for books. You're paying maybe $2 American for a DVD. It's like $1.98 or something like that for a DVD to import to Australia. For a book, you're paying anything between $5 and $15 American, depending on the weight and the size of the book. These would probably cost you about $5 American in shipping, plus the $5 American flat fee that they put on top of it. If you're in America, you can get these free shipping, and they are dirt cheap. If you're living in America, these things, pick them up for like $12, $13, $15 US. I picked this one up, I think in Australian dollars, for about $27 that was, which is pretty good for the size of this book. This one was closer to, I think it was maybe 25, so it was pretty much around the same price. This one was $18 or $19, so that's a really good price for that one there. All on Book Depository. So if you're in Australia, especially because we don't have an Amazon, this is really the cheapest way that you can get your hands on books like this. We don't have many book chains in Australia anymore, like actual shops. Most of them closed down. There's a few that are remaining, like Dymocks and Collins. but their prices are really inflated a lot of the time. So if you want to head to Book Depository and pick up dirt cheap books, no matter, it's not just comics, it's just about any book you can imagine, they're really, really cheap on Book Depository. And that's the only place I will buy books from now, I promise you. And I import, it's very rare that I will buy a book in the country unless I come across a really good deal. Most of my things are imported. These are all imported from Book Depository. Everything comes from the UK, so it takes like a week to get here. Between 7 and 15 days usually. 7 to 10 is average, sometimes 15 days, depending on the time of year, I suppose. But they came in about a week. But at that, I am bringing this review to an end. I've been talking for way too much. I will have another video online within hours, within